It has barely been a month since the January 2024 Ninjago sets came out, but guess what, boys? Those sets don't matter anymore because we got a fresh new wave and there's actually more than just mechs this time. What is up, guys? Hfmasters here, and today we're going to be ranking the Ninjago March 2024 sets. So this set right here is the first Arin set that we have ever gotten, unless of course you want to count this thing. And I would say this set is alright. It feels like it was heavily inspired by the design of the Rock Rotor, which is actually a set that I really liked, but it just doesn't do it as well. Although I will say there are still a lot of things to like about this set. First off, this vehicle actually has space for 2 minifigures, which is very rare to see at this scale, but it is much appreciated. The back also has working suspension, which is something that I personally always like seeing in vehicle sets. And there's also this sticker of Riyu on the back spoiler, which I just think is a really cool detail. The only thing that I don't really like here, design-wise, is this hook. I'm assuming the idea is that the hook would allow the vehicle to climb up a mountain or something like that, because that kind of seems to be the theme of this wave. But it's just kind of weird the way it is on this set, because you can put it on the bottom, which that's fine, I think it looks good there. But once you take it off, there's no way to launch it or anything like that, and the chain is kind of short, so to actually hook it onto something in a usable way, it just doesn't really work. So you're just sort of dragging it around, which just kind of feels like it'd be more annoying than actually useful. Also, it is worth mentioning that the rims are different colors on the tires here, with the front ones being yellow and the back ones being a dark blue color. Personally, I don't really mind it, but I know there are some people who aren't going to like that, so it's worth saying it. As for the minifigures, the Climber Coal is exclusive, and there also is this brand new hook piece for them, which I think looks cool. The thing though that really kills this set is the price. This set is an absolute scam. The set comes with 267 pieces, and somehow it is $50. When I first saw it, I thought the website just had it wrong. I thought there was no way, and then I looked at other sites and every single one said the same thing. I couldn't believe it. And it's not even like this is one of those sets where the piece count is low, but the actual set's really big, so it feels like you're getting a lot of stuff, so it makes sense. This set feels small because it is small. The value on this set, it's just nowhere even being close to where it needs to be to justify that price point. So I already talked about this set when I talked about the January wave, so I'm not going to go super in depth here because my opinions just haven't really changed, and after getting the other mechs I really doubt my opinions will change because they're all basically the same set, at least in terms of their basic design. But since this is coming out in the March wave, I do want to include it in the video. So basically, the way I view this one, it's a solid set, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not a huge fan of the colors or the overall look here. And as far as the look of the set actually goes, I think the Arin set looks better than this one, but I can't justify putting this set below that one when this is an actual reasonable price at $20. This is one that has actually grown on me a little bit. The minifigures here are great. Climber J is an exclusive, but it also comes with the new Wildfire in case you don't want to buy this garbage. It also comes with the Power Blast piece to represent her powers, which is something I always wondered why they didn't do more for Ninjago, because it just makes so much sense for them to do it. Plus, you can still get Jordana here, so even if you decide that you no longer want the other Kai mech set and you want this one instead, you still can get all the exclusive minifigures, which is nice. The actual mech, by the way, looks a lot better than I thought as well. When I first saw it, I was a little concerned because I thought it looked small for $70 and a little bit on the gimmicky side, but I don't really think that's the case anymore. The 2 arms in the back are probably the first thing that most people notice, and those are very well designed, being able to move in basically every direction, including inward, which is really good. The only thing it can't do is move straight back, which is honestly fine, it doesn't really matter in this case. And then the hands on those arms can also move as well, which is something I didn't expect but is really great to have. The only thing I don't like about those back arms in particular is that for some reason the builds are completely different. So the arm on the left has a lot of armor and the hook can actually come off, and then on the one on the right is just way worse with no armor and then the hook is permanently attached. I don't know why they did that. They should have just made them the same. The regular arm builds, those are good. The only thing I don't like about those is that they use the Evo joints for elbows here, which, even looking beyond the fact that it makes the forearms ultra skinny and just not good looking, it is a terrible idea to not have elbow articulation in a giant mech set like this, especially when the whole point of the set is that you want to be able to climb with it, which means you really want to be able to move the arms. But other than that, I do love the design of the set. I really like how they did the colors with the dark reds on the back and the bright reds and black on the torso and legs. Speaking of which, I really like the design of the legs on this mech. It's very different from what we usually get because the lower half is pretty much just a Technic beam, which I actually think is a very cool idea and a good look. I also really like the feet build on here as well. But the most interesting thing on here is the back of the legs, which is this piston-like build, which I personally find to be a little bit strange. But let me explain why. Now, if you're familiar with the Bionicle Titan sets, then you're already familiar with this design because it was used on basically every Titan set from 2007 onward. But the reason I find it weird on this Kai mech is because unlike those Bionicle sets, the purpose on those was you would get extra stability when you bent the knees so you could get the full range of articulation on the ankles. And in case you haven't noticed, every big mech set that has knees has no ankle articulation front and back. They can only move the side to side. So I thought the point of having this piston in the back would be so you can have the knees but still have the full ankle articulation, except the set just doesn't have knees. So it just kind of has double jointed ankles, which to be fair, I don't think knees were necessary for this set, and I do think that this set absolutely needed to have that extra stability because of that Technic beam in the front, but I can't help but feel like they missed the opportunity to evolve mechs here just a little bit more.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
This set is great by every metric. The build for Ryu is simple but very well done. The new head mold looks great. The recolored wing pieces from the January Dragon Strike set work really well here. All of the small detailing from the stickers to the texturing to the small little saddle build and even the spot to sit 2 minifigures, everything about it is great. Speaking of which, the set has a really good minifigure selection as well because it comes with Sora with her new hairpiece, which originally was not going to happen, but I guess they added it later on, which is awesome for us because it's the most accurate Sora hairpiece we have, and it comes in a super cheap set at only $16, which is a great value. Like I said, this is a great set all the way around, and it's pretty much perfect for what it is. The Dragonstone Shrine is the most interesting set of the way for me because it's a Ninjago set, but it doesn't really feel like it's designed for the average Ninjago fan. Now don't get me wrong, it still very clearly has Ninjago characteristics, but it's almost like it's an 18+ set disguised as a Ninjago set. There's basically no play features on this set. The platform here can move around a little bit and you can push out this book. That's it. The set is hyper focused on being a display piece. The way the rock sections are built up and detailed is super well done. The waterfall coming out of the dragon mouth to form this pond on the bottom is a great touch. My personal favorite thing though is the way they blended in the roots of this tree around the dragon head statue toward the back to form this whole branch on the top, which is very well done and it just adds a lot to the set. There also are some small, very minor space on the back, but like I said, there's not a whole lot because the set feels like it's hyper focused on being a display piece rather than a play set. The minifigures here are also kind of interesting because it comes with Kai and Nia, but they have the last year's designs, which personally I think the reason they did this is because they're aiming it towards, not traditional Ninjago buyers, but it is still super weird because they literally made new designs for them, but they just chose not to use them. But there are still some new exclusive minifigures here. We got the new exclusive Wu, and we also have the Euphrasia minifigure who comes with both the hairpiece and the hood that we're more used to seeing. The only issue that I have with this set is because it is so focused on the details, which what I presume to be appealing toward the older fans, it also makes the set feel very small for the price of $120, which is a shame because I do think this is the set that's going to appeal to a lot of non-Ninjago fans, but I also think a lot of those people will be reluctant to buy this set because of that price. Even so though, I really do love this set, although it does feel overpriced. Like the Dragonstone Shrine, the Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo is also $120, but it takes the complete opposite approach and it feels much more aligned with what you would expect from a big Ninjago set. The set actually has less pieces with 1,190, but because of the design, it feels like you're just getting way more here. The set is packed with a ton of play features, There's zip lines on both sides, which takes advantage of the new hook piece, which I think was a very cool idea. There's a chain to capture the ninja. There's a trapdoor on the top. There's this giant artifact thing that can drop out of the wolf's mouth. Speaking of which, I absolutely love the build for the wolf head in the center of this dojo. It just looks so cool, and it's probably my favorite detail of this entire set. There also is a ton of usable space as well on the back of this thing, although there's not actually that much in there, but it is usable space. The big thing though for this set is that right in the middle there's this whole battle area. It's got 2 handles and clear platforms that you can place minifigures on and literally just battle them. The only set I can think of that did anything similar to this was this Duel on Mustafar set from forever ago, but this is a really cool concept I'm glad to see come back. There's also a ton of weapons on the side as well, and then there's 3 exclusives being the climber versions of Lloyd, Zane, and Nia. It's also worth mentioning that there is this new sword mold as well. I'm sure this is going to have some story significance, but it also is just a cool piece. Now personally, like I said, I think the design of the Dragonstone Shrine is better than this set, but I think the overall value here is just undeniable, which is why I got it at number 1.